All right. Good afternoon, everybody. I was just engrossed in this wonderful book that I'm reading. You might have heard of it. We're going to talk about it today. From Us for You. I know it's probably backwards, but just pretend that you can read backwards. I've seen things on Facebook that says that we can read backwards. So anyway, welcome today. My name is Monica Lindstrom, and I am a member of the Board of Directors for Arizona Foundation for Women. We are a nonprofit here in Arizona that really focuses on the women of Arizona and doing what we can to help them in our community. So it's not national, right? We like to focus on women here in our community. So one of the things we're doing is a She Talks. She Talks is the name of our sessions where we educate the community, we educate ourselves, and we talk about all kinds of different things that affect women. Now, today we're very excited because this is first in a series, in a brand new series, and it's called Healing Through Humanities. When you think of humanities, think of talking and reading and writing, maybe cooking, maybe painting, pottery, jewelry making, basket weaving, just something through the arts and creative, right? Being creative. So today our event is actually called Using the Printed Word to Heal. All of us have gone through a lot in the past couple of years, well, probably all of our lives, but in the past couple of years, we've had that shared experience of living through a pandemic, which is now mostly considered an endemic. But a lot of women had very different challenges, and we want to share those. And one of the things that we can learn from that is how other women have healed through that situation or through other tragic or trauma-inducing events in their lives, or maybe something that just was uncomfortable for them and they found a way to get through it and heal. And storytelling has been around forever, and it's one of the ways that we heal. And so we wanted to bring in some women in this incredible book. Let me show it to you again, right there, From Us for You, right? So that we can share these experiences with you. Now, first, let me say that we want to thank Arizona Humanities, who provided AFW, our group here, a grant to make this year's She Talks series possible. We're very, very grateful for that, and we're excited about this new experience. We could not have done this without them. And someone else that we couldn't have done this without are our beautiful, wonderful speakers that you're going to hear from today. We are so blessed and grateful that they have joined us and shared their stories with us through this book. Yeah. All right. Now, let me go ahead and explain just a little bit about AFW and She Talk. So AFW, Arizona Foundation for Women, and we try to raise awareness, and our mission is to help women. Obviously, I've said that, but safety, health, and economic empowerment. The S, the H, and the E. S for safety, H for health, E for economic empowerment. One of our brilliant directors, I love her, she came up with the saying of, we rap to she. So through research, advocacy, and philanthropy, we help women with their safety, health, and economic empowerment here in Arizona. So it's kind of a fun little saying, and it really helps us remember exactly why we're here and what the mission of AFW is. So I'll talk at the end a little bit more about becoming involved with AFW and becoming a member. You can become a member for as little as $10 a month, and you have this incredible feeling of being able to give right here to our own community and help women in our own community. And you can become part of our grant process and figuring out what kind of She Talks we're going to do and what organizations we're going to help and what we can do. And it's really a very fulfilling experience. Let me see. We also have a lot of volunteer experience or opportunities available. Now, one thing that's really exciting that we love is called our She Partners. This is a program that we collaborate with different corporations throughout Arizona and throughout the Valley, so that they can help get their employees and they can become involved in the greater good for Arizona's community of women. All right, so if you want to look it up, azfw.org, you can look it up now, as long as you're still listening to us, about this amazing book. or you can go ahead and check it out later. We're always there. That's the great thing about the internet, right? You can always find all the information. So now today, let me go ahead and talk about this book. So I have some notes here, and I'm going to be looking down because there's no way I could memorize all the wonderful things about this book. Let me show you again. It's From Us to You, and it is Inspiring Stories of Healing, Growth, and Transformation. And it was compiled by Diane Dresback, and you're going to hear her today as well. And you probably see her right there. I don't know if you can see everybody, but she's in a beautiful hot pink purple sweater there. So this is about 25 women. They're aged 30 to 80, so a lot of life experience there, telling stories of how they endured or navigated a variety of struggles and have emerged having grown and transformed and really survived the struggles that they went through. And the whole purpose of the book was to share these stories so that we could learn from them, and maybe just a little bit in there can help you or help each one of us get through our struggles. And that's invaluable. The net profits from Us for You book sales are donated to a nonprofit organization dedicated to advocating for women. Guess what it's called? Arizona Foundation for Women. So that's really wonderful, Diane. Thank you so much for doing that. I'm going to let the speakers that we have with us here today go ahead and explain the book and their story. That's why we invited them to talk to us about what they had gone through and their part in the book. First, obviously, is Diane. She'll talk about the book and what she went through to get this book together. Now, Diane just isn't a normal person, all right? She is a director, a writer, a producer, and an author. She's known for Blue Copper from 2015, Winding Road 2012, and Paranoia 2012. She has been working in the independent film industry since 2007. She's actually completed over 35 short films, as you know, being in all of those roles that I just mentioned. And she's won numerous awards. So that's pretty fantastic that we have her here, that she was able to find the time to share with us. She also wrote and co-produced a feature film called Atrophy. It was formerly entitled Paranoia, right? And now it's called Atrophy. Yes. And the Phoenix Film Foundation presented her with the 2012 Arizona Filmmaker of the Year Award. Yay, that's so awesome. As of 2021, she's published 9 books, 7 novels and 2 nonfiction books, which I think is amazing because it's hard enough for me to write my grocery list, let alone do something pretty amazing like that. So we're going to start off with Diane, and then Kimber Leigh is going to talk to us. And when it's Kimber's turn, I'm going to break in and introduce her because she's got some amazing qualities as well. And so I want to tell you about those right before she speaks. And then next we will have Danyelle. And Danyelle, it's Cavaness-Weatherford, same thing, amazing woman, wonderful story that we can all learn from. And we'll talk, or I will talk to you about her when it's her turn. Now, if you don't have the book yet, From Us for You, and Diane will tell you more about that, I encourage you to do that. And each one of the individuals we're listening to, they have their story in there. So thank you so much for joining us. So Diane, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about this book, the origins of the book, what you learned going through it, and anything else that you would like to help us in our very first Healing Through Humanities She Talks session.
Yes. Thank you so much, Monica, and Ellen as well, for inviting us to tell you about our book. It's really an honor for us to be here during your first session. So thank you for that invitation. So as you had mentioned, I have Kimber and I have Danyelle with me too. They're fellow authors and filmmakers that you'll hear from a little bit later. We're just excited to share with you a little bit about this compilation book that we've all participated in, and to encourage you to explore writing as a way to share and process your own stories. So as Monica talked about, I've been an independent filmmaker and author for many years. And before that, I spent 26 years in corporate America doing some different things there. But this all started, the book all started back in October of 2020 in the midst of the COVID pandemic. And, I was going through a little withdrawals, as we probably all were. And I came up with this idea to embark on this special project. And due to the restrictions, like most people, I was spending all my time at home. And, the collaboration on film projects was at a halt, as well as any kind of in-person writer groups that I normally participated in, and meetings, that type of stuff. So I'm a social person. So that was difficult for me. So I'm a storyteller in both the film and book mediums, I already know, and I knew how powerful stories could be. So I remember sitting in my favorite purple chair, which is right over there. It's my writing chair. And saying to my husband that I want to put together a book of true stories written by several women that can help and encourage people in their own struggles, and give the net proceeds to a nonprofit organization who helps women. And he kind of raises eyebrows at me and he says, "You go for it." So I started out by reaching out to some of the women that I already knew who had stories to tell, to just kind of gauge how they felt about it. And they all loved the idea. So I think most of them were probably going through social withdrawals due to the pandemic as well. And they wanted to connect. So that, with their blessing on this, I was on my way to kind of birthing our book. And Monica showed it too. I have it too. From Us for You, Inspiring Stories of Healing, Growth, and Transformation. It's a mouthful for a title. So if you hear us refer to the book as Fuffy, From Us for You, Fuffy, you'll understand why. So this month actually was our first year anniversary of the book's publication. So we did this last year. We published April 14th of 2021. And that's when the official introduction to all of our stories to the world happened. Because our sole intent was to encourage and inspire others, that's why, we decided to do net proceeds from all the book sales to go to Arizona Foundation for Women. It just really, when I was looking at all of the options that we had, I really felt that that was the organization that I thought would be best for us to do that. So Monica also mentioned that 25 women wrote the chapters, and their age range 30 to 80. They also live across 8 different states. So they're not just here in Arizona, they're in Colorado and Hawaii and Texas and, across 8 different states. So everything we did during putting this book together was done virtually through Zoom calls and conference calls, different things like that. So we didn't have any in-person meetings or celebrations. And we basically became a creative community through the power and healing of storytelling. And that's what we're talking about today. And there were so many amazing aspects to this book. One being that some of the women that wrote chapters had never written or shared their story with anyone before. So, this book made them an author, and they were so excited. And I got so many emails from people. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my story. And, others had written before, but hadn't told, perhaps of that particular situation or struggle that they went through. So everyone came from different backgrounds. They went through different situations and told their stories in different ways. I did not specify, I know sometimes you can get compilation books out there that focus on a particular theme. I didn't want to limit them in what they talked about. I didn't want to specify the topic. So it just had to be an experience or a journey that they had learned something from. And I wanted them to share those lessons that they learned. So the subject matter was varied: severe health issues, abuse, relationships, career, life journeys, all kinds of different topics that showed up. And they write, and we did limited editing on it because we wanted that style and that who that person was to come through. So when you're reading, you're not going to, they're not all going to be the same. They're not going to read the same. So we began with the digital ebooks and then the paperbacks, of course. and then added the audiobook. So the audiobook we recorded last summer in 8 different states. It's probably my most favorite format because each woman reads her own chapter. And so that was a feat getting all of that accomplished. But you hear her chapter, her words in her voice, which is really, really powerful, I think. And at the end of the audiobook, I also include all the interviews we did with each of the women. So during our pre-launch campaign, we interviewed each of these women individually to hear a little bit more about them and their story, get to know them a bit. And all of the audio from those Zoom interviews are actually at the end of the audiobook. So that's just an extra bonus I wanted to add in there. All of the information and links, for the book, you can find at the FromUsForYou.com. That's probably the easiest website. We have some other things too, but that's the easiest way, FromUsForYou.com. Just kind of to finish up my small portion here, I wanted to share that as I received each story from the women, I'd sit down in my purple chair and I would read it. And personally, I was so moved and inspired by the stories that they were sharing. Some of them were just, many of them were just brutally honest as far as what was going on. These women are all so strong and resilient, and they have something of importance to offer to all of us. So the best part of me was this project was the gift of encouragement that I received from the writers, what they offered through their writing and the telling of their personal stories to inspire others. And bonus is, in so doing, helping themselves to process and deal with the situations that, that they've experienced in their lives. So it's probably one of my very favorite projects to have put together. And I'm so appreciative for the women sharing all of their stories. Yes, and thank you for listening. I'm going to turn it back over to you, Monica, so you can introduce Kimber.
All right, thank you, Diane. Yeah, like I said, I have difficulties sometimes with my shopping list, right? And writing has never been a strong point, like creative writing, right? And my husband is always talking about journal. He's a journaling freak, is what I call it, because he does it a lot, right? But there have been a handful of times in my life that I've had so much going on in my head that I've just, written something, obviously not as eloquent and incredible as what you all have done here in this book, but just getting it all down there on paper. And then you can kind of be like, all right, I'm done with it. So even someone that is just not talented in writing, if I can do it, I can imagine that some other women out there could do something like that. And it doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't have to be grammatically correct, right, ladies? It's just get it out there is what I'm kind of getting from this book. So I'm glad it gives a lot of support to that thought process of just get it out there. Okay, so now we get to go to Kimber. Kimberly, not Kimberly, Kimber Leigh. She was born and educated in Pennsylvania. Ooh, I bet it's cold out there. But she's based here in Phoenix, and she's been here for 35 years. Now, get this, she has produced over 140 TV episodes. She is also award-winning actor, producer, director, and she's been involved in 40 films. So you've got a lot of TV and a lot of film, which is pretty incredible. She's also interviewed, she's a journalist, she's interviewed high-profile individuals. She advises celebrities, business owners, and CEOs. She's also an advisor to other producers, actors, actresses, models. I mean, gracious, right? You are an advisor, you are a leader. And so it's great that you have this information in the book to broaden your leadership abilities. I mean, you probably didn't even think you could reach as many people as you've been able to do in this book. Now, her current business activities focus on mentoring men and women to make life-changing practices by showing them how to have the wow factor. So I hope you tell us about the wow factor as you're going through this. And I love this. I'm going to say this out loud. Author of best-selling book, Greta Garbage. Yep, Garbage. Yep, Author of workbook, Achieving Your Miracles. So there's a workbook. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about that. And best-selling coffee table book. You might have to say that for me, Kimber, because I'm not sure if I could say that right, because it's a Hawaiian name.
Yes.
But right before I hand it over to Kimber, I want to show you that here she is right here in the book, From Us for You. Foofy, I guess is it. And she is right there in black and white on page 71. I am secure with blame, lessons from a narcissist. All right, Kimber, take it away.
Thank you both so much for having me, and especially Diane for choosing me. And I just wanted to make a slight correction. I reside on the Big Island of Hawaii for the last 5 years. An incredible place if you ever get the moment to visit. The Hawaiian book is called Ku'u Aloha, Frames from the Big Island. And it's a book of photography, Hawaiian sayings, some ways that the Hawaiians have lived to help uplift your life.
I like it. I want to go there now.
Yes, it's beautiful. And the book Greta Garbage was, I know the title's a little rough, but the title came from my mother. And for all of the women out there that are listening right now, if you have ever lived with abuse, it's not something that you ever heal from, but it is something that you learn from, and you know to cut that umbilical cord of the generational experience. So when I was writing my book, and you know what, let me go back for a moment. We think, we feel, and then we write. So when you're writing, think about it, feel it, and write it. And when I was doing that, especially when you're writing about abuse, no matter what the form is, you have to feel it the way you felt it in that moment in order to get it on the paper. And I was halfway through the book. I didn't even know that I was writing a book when I was just wanting to get this out of me. And halfway through it, I heard the name Greta Garbage. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's the title of the book. And my mother called me that because my grandfather told me I was going to be a phenomenal actress and as famous as Greta Garbo. And I was so excited. And by the way, Greta Garbo was the first silent screen actress. So it's really funny that silencing is a form of abuse. So anyway, I ran home to tell my raging alcoholic mother this phenomenal news that I was going to be an actress. I was 7 years old. And her response to me was, sweetheart, you will never be anything but a bitch, a Greta Garbage. And I was so shocked in that very moment that I had shoved it so deep inside of me that decades and decades later, how it surfaced in just a moment. So for anybody out there, I know the women that are listening, the women that will potentially listen to this, you can't keep that inside of you. It has to come out, because if you keep it inside, it will grow as a form of dis-ease in the body. And wouldn't you rather just put that ugly, toxic thing on a piece of paper and be done with it? Interesting thing is when Diane came to me, Diane knew I had already written a book. And I thought to myself, well, how could I contribute? I purged some of myself already into a book. And when she came to me and asked me, and I thought about it a little bit deeper, I don't know how she even knew this. Perhaps she didn't know it, but there was still something else left inside. And after I thought about it, the living with not one narcissist, but several in my life, I realized I didn't touch on it because it's too painful. Again, you have to feel it to express it. And after thinking about it, I said to Diane, I said, yes, there is one more thing. And I can't believe I didn't put, well, yes, I can believe I didn't put it in my book because it's going to hurt. And that's where the chapter came from. I hope it serves many people, especially because narcissism is so prevalent in today's society. In every arena out there, I see it, and any form of silence, I don't care what kind. I lived with it as a child. It is a form of abuse. And so the key to that, how to cure that, is to educate people and to give them tools so that we can all move forward and come out of this worldwide ugly and produce more love and light.
So Kimber, I was just writing down, you said that silence is a type of abuse. Is that what you?
Yeah, it's a form of abuse. It is. So when I was little, I never even told my own father that my mother was drinking, drugging, sleeping with all the neighborhood men. I was taking a beating every day. I was cooking for a family of 6. I was the only female, and I had 3 siblings that were males. And so my mother just piled all of this on me. I was told if I told anybody that she was selling my body for pharmaceuticals or for drugs for her next high, that what happened to me daily would get worse. And so she silenced me. I couldn't reach out for help. I couldn't go. There was nowhere to go. So my point is that today, when you're being silenced, I don't care what genre it is a form of abuse because you need help, whether that help is to understand the situation, whether that help is to help another. You have to be able to speak. And speaking is healing. The words are vibrational. When you speak, you feel the vibration and it goes out there. And it'll either bring you back more of what you spoke that is ill, or it will help you heal and bring you more love and light. This is very emotional for me because I know that it's a really tough subject in society today, but many people don't know narcissism. And it took me to the age of 60 something to understand what narcissism was. I didn't know because I couldn't recognize it. Now that I know and I recognize it, well, that's the first form of healing. And now you can go on from there and say, oops, nope, I see some signs and I can't have a relationship with you. You have to set a boundary then. And the only person you can fix, change, or help is yourself, as we all know. And I can't change a narcissist. I can only change how I feel about a narcissist. So if you're out there and you want to read this chapter, though all Diane's chapters are short, all of the women offer something in the book to one step to take your process of getting over whatever it is you're struggling with. We give you a tool and take that tool and use it.
Okay. I'm so sorry you had to go through that. I'm glad you survived and got through it so that you could sit here today and tell us about the experience. No matter how painful it is, there's somebody listening or watching or read the book where it resonates with them. And if you can only help one person, right, then it's all worth it to tell your story.
Absolutely. And one more suggestion, I have a mentor of 7 years. He's 92 years old. Amazing, amazing man. Get a mentor. A mentor is better than a friend because a friend might not want to hurt your feelings and really isn't educated enough to get you out of your ugly. So get a mentor, someone that cares, someone that's been there, because a mentor is different, in my opinion anyway, than getting psychological help, because sometimes when you get help, you get stuck in this cycle of continually telling your story and your problem over and over, and years could go by. When you get a mentor wants you to do better, wants you to get on with your life. They give you everything that you need. Here, take this, heal this, and I want to see you be successful, because I have other people to mentor. So the mentoring is so much different. It's quicker, it's more proactive, and it's worked in my life. I am a survivor because of a mentor.
That's really nice to hear. You've said a lot of very important things and impactful things in just this couple minutes that you've been talking. I want to come back with some questions. So what we're going to do is now I'm going to introduce Danyelle and have Danyelle talk. And then at the end, we're going to circle back around and get some questions from the audience. And then I'm taking notes and I have questions as well, because sometimes people are a little shy to ask questions and I'm not. So we'll come back with some questions. So thank you, Kimber. Up next, you see her there with an amazing backdrop. I mean, I just love your background behind you. There's so many fun things there. I don't know what I like more, or whether it's the Superman or the doll or, well, Tasmanian devil. Anyway, it's very fun. So this is Danyelle Cavaness-Weatherford, and she grew up in the southeast Texas town of Lake Jackson. Never heard of it. Is it hot and humid there?
It is hot, full of mosquitoes, but an awesome beach is close by. So,
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Because those mosquitoes, there's just no good. There is no good that comes from a mosquito.
You're correct.
Yeah, mosquitoes and flies, they're just no. All right. She explains to us that her oxygen comes from knowing her family is healthy and happy. So she's very much a family woman. She's sharing inspiring life lessons her parents and God have impressed on her. Now, you're a professional doer. I love that title. I wish we could all be professional doers, right? Because that's such an empowering title. You have over 20 years of professional experience. I'm going to get through this. Strategic planning, financial management, project management, entertainment management, and breast cancer advocacy. You're a storyteller. No matter the capacity. You said your entertainment resume includes work from HBO, Lifetime Women's Network, Lives of Women, commercials, and then writing, acting, producing, directing, award-winning independent films. How did we get so lucky with all of you film producers and storytellers? I mean, this is pretty amazing. A dedicated Bobcat. What's that mean?
Texas State Bobcat.
All right. Okay. All right. Texas State University, you have a BBA in marketing. Is it BBA?
Bachelor's in Business Administration. Yes.
Okay. All right. There you go. And you're currently the COO, so that's Chief Operating Officer for the Austin, Texas production and technology company, Sparks.
Yes, it's Sparks Studio and Indie Sparks. Yes.
All right. I like it. I like it. You love a great cinnamon roll.
Yes.
Like food cinnamon roll?
Send them my way anytime.
Right.
I will partake. Yes.
You can't, that's the thing you can't walk by, huh?
No.
Yeah.
Or if it's somebody else's, hopefully they don't miss it if I happen to grab it. So yeah.
All right. And living in the moment and saving the world from the ordinary. And in this wonderful book, you might have heard of it from us for you, Foofy, otherwise known as Foofy. Danyelle is here on page 128, and she contributes to this book for such a time as this. And again, wonderful. Tell us about yourself, about this, your part in this book and the healing and the process you went through.
Thank you, Monica. And thank you everybody for having me today. And Diane, again, thank you for choosing me. And I love to be in the presence of Kimber as well anytime, because that's a spirit that is just so welcoming and energizing. Yes, ma'am. I'm going to go to my chapter just for a second, and then I'll move on a little bit more. My chapter is called For Such a Time as This. And I believe that there are no coincidences in life. I think you are put on this earth For me, it's God breathed. This is at such a time as this. This is your time to fly to hell. We may come in to hell, but the way we maneuver through those journeys is kind of what we take and what we're given, and figuring out a way to make those better. And I believe that we are all given opportunities in different ways to really recognize that, and to know what we can do to create abundance from that if possible. And I'm going to read a little chapter. I think, from it. I wasn't going to read this chapter, but I'm going to read it anyway. This part of the chapter. Fighting became my avenue to vent my childhood frustrations. While bullying those that I had targeted as weak, I became the protector of my little brother and anyone that needed protecting, even myself. Ignoring pain can sometimes breed more pain. When hearing the routine dysfunction in my home, I often disassociated myself from the world by retreating to my bedroom closet. The pain inside me was overwhelming. Stomach issues plagued me. Stress was not something that I in my vocabulary. Excuse me. I think I'm getting a little bit emotional right now. I don't know why. The pain inside me was overwhelming. Stomach issues plagued me. Stress was not something that was in my vocabulary at that young age. Medications were ingested to help fix the gastric stresses plaguing me. One of those bottles rested on my closet shelf next to a small white Bible. In my retreating, I would tearfully stare at the bottle and the Bible, wondering which one in larger volumes would solve my pain. The Bible always won for some reason. I wanted someone to save me. What I realized, I had never really talked about my story. I talked about just that little piece at the very end, but I'd never really talked about all the stuff that had happened in my life. And alcoholism ran through my family rampant, mainly on the men's side. And what I noticed was that a lot of men and women didn't know their worth. I didn't know my worth. And so I would always put myself in the back seat. I kind of still do. I love uplifting people and helping people. If you, my resume kind of speaks to that. I love helping to amplify other voices. And so when Diane came to me with this, I was like, okay, do I want to amplify me? And so I get emotional a little bit here and there. And so that was kind of hard, even though I'm in the public view a lot, but a lot of times that can be a facade for some. You know, it's great to see this part of you, but what's inside you kind of hide sometimes. And so it's a lot more comforting to make somebody else feel great, to feel good, and to mentor at times as well. I love seeing people thrive and fly. And so what this chapter did for me, and then reading everybody else's, was to look within myself and to see what was I not giving to me, and to also release some of that, and to put an identity on the crud, as well as go, okay, what can I take from that crud and make that even stronger and more beautiful? Because the ugly duckling can become pretty, the beautiful swan. And so that doesn't just have to be what we look like. It can be something of what we feel and emanate. And so I took the writing, and I'm going to share my screen just for a second, and created something from what you guys asked. Excuse me, I'm going to get into this. This is kind of what Diane, your chapter did for me, if you could see it. The stories came from within, they came out. As I read the chapters, this is what I started to see. And as we were doing and thinking about some of what we're going to do today, I wanted to share what was coming out of me for people, to take the light that they have inside of them and to begin. I'm not expecting everybody to read all this. I'm going to go through little pieces of this, but I want to contribute back to different things that can get you writing and prompting your creativity. And so we all have light within us. We don't ever necessarily pay attention to that. We look in the mirror, we look back at ourselves, we're seeing wrinkles, we're seeing all these things happen, and we're not really appreciating what we have inside. And often we feel unworthy. We don't feel like we're capable or we can. So I'm here to light the way a little bit from these prompts that I'm giving to you. And I read a little book for you. I started, I wrote notes, but I'm like, I'm going to give them a guide. I'm going to give you a guide at the end of this so you can take this and use this for whatever you want to do. So COVID-19 brought us some darkness, and it put us here in crazy land. Didn't know which way to go. And overwhelmed land came to me. And the darkness encroached. My son had his birthday party the day before Texas shut down. The day after, he had just had a whole bunch of friends. And the day after, his friends kind of disappeared. And they have disappeared. So it took that from him. He was kind of introvert. So he was finding his way. And I saw people die. I know people who died. I know people who lost that connection. And I needed to connect. So I wrote songs, I wrote poems. I was doing a lot of different things. And what I know from this is, as you see the picture right here, we have dark on one side moving into the light. Those negative things don't always stay negative. They move to positive a lot, and it goes back and forth. The younger me wouldn't have ventured into those different writing places because people made fun of me. I made D's all the time in school. And I had teachers make fun of me and say, you'll never amount to anything and you will never be able to write. Well, we're writing right now. And so I'm going to give you a few prompts. I know your voice is very valuable and I want you to know that. You can journal, you can sketch. There's a lot of other things here. And I'm going to touch on them very quickly and allow you to expand on it yourself. Okay, so journaling is that therapeutic thing that we all hear about. And it can help to, if you have that journal, I've got a whole bunch of them behind me actually back there. And it can be a spiral, whatever that is, write it out. What comes out of that will probably surprise you and prompt some other stories. If you're a sketching person, perhaps draw a sketch and connect the two, and the words that you see from that sketch may take you in places you never ever thought. Perhaps you are somebody who looks to God. I do. Scripture kind of takes me into another place where it makes me think and calms me. I also take my phone and I record audio because things coming out of my head are kind of a million miles an hour, and I can't sketch faster than I can think. Song is amazing as well. So maybe you like to write music, or maybe you like to listen to music to help you to create. Let go, let it flow, just let it go. So maybe get a book, a spiral, and just go. Don't edit, just take off and fly. And maybe be gracious to somebody or something. Maybe that'll do it. When my dad passed away, I noticed that night that something came to me to write to him and to thank the people that had interacted with him, because I didn't really get why my dad existed from all the stuff that I went through before. And maybe you write a letter. I actually did the same for that. So this pandemic is doing a lot of different things, and some people may write poetry because the poet's words come out very free flowing as well. And then, as I did for a documentary, as well as and this book, this wonderful book, is my personal narrative. So it's all about me. I get to write all about me and share it with the world. And the legacy that is passed on from that may be very, very valuable. Then photographs, maybe take objects and look at those. But for me, I love comedy. So turning things upside down may give you a certain level of brevity as well, that may make you look at this and laugh at it when it may need some laughter when in the darkness. So I do pray that this was helpful for you. I hope you write with confidence. As Kimber says before, reach out to her, reach out to me. I'm sure Diane will be open as well. If you need somebody, don't hide from it. We're here to help each other, and we hope that we have helped in some way. I hope this helped you in some way. And Diane, again, thank you, because you opened up a can of worms you don't even know that you did. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Danielle. That was wonderful. You know, one of the things you said was at the very end there were objects, right? And
Yes.
that made me think, I can't exactly, I already said I'm not a great writer, but I noticed that things that keep me happy or keep me sane will be just little objects. I don't like knickknacks. So my objects usually revolve around pictures somehow. You can probably see behind me that I just love pictures. I've got them all over my walls. And that's an object, but it's attached to a memory or a smile. And so even when times are tough or something's bothering me, I can just sit there and kind of look at the pictures, and that helps me, right? Or organizing the pictures, like you had photos in there, or looking at them in a different way can be very helpful.
Yes.
So thank you, because I didn't even make that connection. And I find that interesting.
You're quite
So one of the questions we have, because you are just talking about journaling, is one of our viewers, her daughter is about to graduate high school next month. She has yet to work and has been writing and reading nearly every day. Oh, where'd it go? You took it away. There we go. What route do you recommend I take her into this new journey of writing? And you all have been writers. So Danyelle, what do you think could be there to help this mom encourage her daughter?
I substitute teach a whole lot. And one of the things that a lot of those kids from every grade, I substitute teach. And one, it sounds like she already recognizes that she has a creative ability, and she's doing something with it. So she's already acting. But publish some of that stuff out there that she has. Encourage her to put it out into the world. She can also do an audio book of pieces of it, or blog it somewhere. Yeah, get it out there. If she's willing to do that, she's not shy to have it just sit with her. So that would be one of my first suggestions.
Not only could it help others, but it also gives her a certain sense of confidence or fulfillment.
Exactly.
All right. Kimber, do you have anything to add to that?
Yes, I agree with what Danyelle said. And the other thing is what sometimes holds us back is the thought of perfection.
Yeah.
Nothing is perfect. Everything is a work in progress. So do it just the way you feel it, because you have to, just whatever's in here, put that on paper and be done with it.
That is great. I'm writing that down. Nothing is perfect. Everything is a work in progress. I have a 7th grader who is a perfectionist. Drives me insane. He won't go on to the next math problem unless he figures out that problem or finds the perfect word or something. So maybe I need to blow that up and paint it on his wall.
And here's the other thing: we learn through failure more than we'll ever learn through any success. So it's okay to fail.
Yes.
Yep. I've been trying to teach him it's okay to strike out, right? Even pros do it. You just get up there and keep going. So Danyelle, you were talking about how people show their worth, right? You were talking about a person's worth and how maybe when you were younger, you didn't know what your worth was or if you were worthwhile at all. How would you, in this life experience that you've had, how would you encourage parents to show their children that they have worth? I think we're so busy with our children or our loved ones. It might be nieces or nephews. It might be spouses that you got to do this, you got to do this, why didn't you do this? Or you got to work harder. How do we take a moment and show them that they're worth something? Because it sounds like you didn't get that when you were younger.
I got it when I was younger, but I didn't get it the way I think I needed it.
Okay.
I'm guilty as a mom of saying, yeah, clean up your room. This it looks like tornado just hit it. What's smelling in here? I don't even know. I don't want to walk in there. But hearing why don't you listen to me, Mom? And so we're parents. It's because I said so. I listen to my kids, maybe too much. I take interest in, take the time. I think it's a time thing of actually sitting with them and hearing what they have to say, even if it's wrong. Engaging in what they're doing. If they have the corniest joke, it's like, oh gosh, do I have to listen to that? No, we don't do that. Actually listen to the corny joke. Give them the time versus giving the Netflix show the time.
Yeah.
You know, that would be my suggestion there. It's time. I think it's the time value of time.
That's an excellent point. There's that book out there. I know you've all heard it, you know, The 5 Love Languages.
Yes.
And there's one for children that I got and read through it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's one sentence. Oh my gosh, that's the other. They're totally different. So unfair, so hard. No. But anyway, I can tell that one of your love languages for all 3 of you is storytelling, right? To share your experiences, that time you take to share your experiences with others. And Kimber, you're in Hawaii now. You said you've been there for about 5 years. It's obviously a very beautiful place. What is it that you have found there that has really helped you heal through these experiences that you've carried on your back your whole life?
Just gave my whole body goosebumps. What this place has that it does not exist anywhere, and I'm a retired flight attendant, so I traveled the globe. What this place has that no other place on earth has is magic and tons of aloha, the spirit of aloha, which is love, because it's aloha. The is the breath and the spirit of love and light. There's a lot of lava on the big island. The lava comes from the center of the earth and comes out. So anything that's pure and contained inside Mother Earth, when it comes out, it has magic. So what I mean by magic is, again, back to the spoken word. You have to be very careful what you speak, because it will be granted to you. That also means good, and also the opposite of what good is. So speaking what you not what you expect, but what you want to feel from here. And if a lot of people have ill intentions that come here, the island has this beautiful way of kicking them off. And until maybe because they were offered an opportunity to heal whatever was inside of them, they didn't take that time to do that. So now they have to go back. They have to learn from that. And the island will accept you again to come back here. But it will purge. This island will purge anything that you have not purged yourself. And then it releases its Pandora box of beauty and love, life, health, abundance, and mostly peace. This is an amazing place. And the only place for me to go after here is truly the only other paradise.
So what I hear from you, Kimber, is a lot of spirituality, right? A lot of Mother Nature, it sounds like, when you're talking about the island and coming from Mother Earth. And even though we can't all be in Hawaii, maybe just hearing your explanation and description there, maybe someone who's listening or will read the book can just go outside in their backyard, or maybe go for a little walk to the local park and just maybe feel a little bit of what you're talking about.
Right, because inside of us, we don't even realize we're operating an entire universe inside of ourselves. We have trillions and trillions of cells inside of our body that love to be commanded. They have a life consciousness. So if we can't, so the message, I guess what I'm just understanding from my own answer from your question is that just go inside, and everything you need is in there. Command your body, and you can have your own Hawaii magic inside of yourself. And also too, the other thing about this island that I don't see on the mainland is community. This place, I live on this street that dead ends, and there's about 186 homes. I'm not sure if that's the correct number, but we know everybody. If we need anything, you call your neighbor. They come running. They provide everything. It's just an unbelievable place. And you can have that on the mainland. You can have community, but we're all being, well, we can have community. That's it. If you want it, you can have it.
You know, I think that's a great piece of advice, whether that community is on your street or with this group of women that we're talking to right now, or the community at church, or, you know, really anywhere. You start inside yourself, it sounds like. And then if you speak and think, you know, community and healing and peace, you know, some people might say it sounds a little corny, but it's the spoken word and the intention that I hear both of you talking about, right? And so I think that's fantastic. Diane, you brought these women to us today through your book, and it's been wonderful. As you've gone through this process, what has had the most impact on you with this incredible book, Foofy, From Us for You?
Oh, I think the most impact that that I experienced was having these women step forward and share, you know, such vulnerable pieces of their life, all in response to asking them if they would do so in order to help other people. They're women, but men have read the book and really enjoy it too. So having that opportunity to work alongside them to bring their stories out to the world. I mean, it's been an absolutely wonderful experience.
So two more questions for you as you're talking about the experience, because I think this goes hand in hand with it. Did you start with the writing and then it led to the filmmaking, or did your filmmaking and that kind of process lead to the writing and to this book and the impacts?
Mm-hmm. This is an interesting story. So this is a story about, and it kind of goes along with the first person that you asked the question, you know, encouraging her daughter. So I had a situation happen. I did a lot of creative writing in college, or I'm sorry, in high school. And I had a great writing teacher, very encouraging. You know, I mean, I wasn't the best of writers, but, you know, they were very encouraging. Mm-hmm. So I was really excited. My first semester of college, I took a creative writing class. And by, you know, towards the end of the semester, he basically told me that I wasn't good enough to write and that I shouldn't waste my time writing. Mm-hmm. That's what he said. This is decades ago. So, and I believed him.
Of course.
Because he's an adult, you know, and yeah. I just, you know, I thought I mean, his intentions were probably fine. They were probably good, but I can think now of a better way he could have expressed that. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so for many years, decades, I went without doing any creative writing because I didn't think I was good enough. And a situation happened to me and I did a lot of business writing, you know, designed programs and courses and policies and all of the stuff in the business world. So I knew I could write. I just, you know, wasn't sure about the creative side. So anyway, I had a situation happen. It was probably in my 40s or so. And I started to write a story. But what I did is I wrote a screenplay instead of a book because I still didn't think I was good enough. So that kind of took me into the screenwriting world and into the filmmaking world. When I moved to Texas, I lived in Texas for 6 years where I met Danyelle. While I was down there, my husband, you know, my son actually told me, my 16-year-old son at the time, and he says, "Mom, why are you letting this professor restrict you?" And I thought, you know, that's right. I mean, it really, so that's when I decided, you know, to get more into the creative side of things. So that's when I started working on the books. So, and then I love filmmaking and books at the same time because it's all storytelling.
Mhm.
So I guess, and I did end up writing the story about that initial situation. It was about my adoption. I was adopted as a baby. And so I wrote that into a book and got it out there. So don't believe everything you're told. I guess that would,
I
don't.
like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I'm going to wrap it up with this question. If you could each just give us a very short answer. If someone wanted to start writing, whether it's journaling, screenplay, book, whatever, they just want to start writing. They know it's good for them. They want to do it, but they just stare at that page. What is a prompt that you could give them, or a thought to get them to just start writing? Danyelle?
Who am I? Just go nonstop and not even think about it.
I love that. Who am I? Right? There's so many different answers to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kimber?
For me, when you take a shower and you're standing there with your eyes closed and you're washing your hair, just allow free thought to come into your head. And if that doesn't work, when you're out walking in nature, take your phone and whatever the first inspirational thought, speak it, because what comes through you is what's beautiful. What comes from you takes work. So always write coming through you and ask for that inspiration, that light, that message.
Diane?
I would say have an intention about it. If you want to write about something, set the intention. I want, I'm going to write about X, and then it doesn't matter what the X is. It could be just, the way that, what you're wearing that day or something. You just start, or how something made you feel. So I got angry yesterday. So why did I get angry? And just explore. I'm also a walker, audio or on my phone. I will record or on my phone first. So just let it flow. Don't edit. Don't worry about the grammar. Don't worry about anything like that, because the intention, you can always go back later if you want to share it with people, and just let it come out. And that would be my thought.
All right. Well, thank you, ladies. This was a wonderful hour. I wish we could go on for the rest of the day, because I just have a feeling it would be such a enlightening conversation. Even if it has some sad parts to it, we learn from those sad parts and from those hard things that we've gone through in life. And Kimber, what you went through, I can actually learn from and even help my children or help my other girlfriends. Same thing with Danyelle and Diane. So we so much appreciate this. Thank you, everyone that joined us today and that are watching this now. The book is called From Us For You, Foofy. And you can find it. The website is literally FromUsForYou.com. And I believe proceeds, Diane, correct me if I'm wrong, will go to AFW to help our community.
Yes.
Is that right?
Go to you. Yes.
Yes. So thank you so much for that. And if you're interested in becoming part of AFW, which I hope you are, because it takes a village, right? It takes an entire village to help the women here in Arizona. And then if we help them, it helps their children, it helps their extended family, because the women are the nucleus almost all the time of our parents and our children, our girlfriends, our schools, our workplaces. So we need to help our community as much as possible. You can go to azfw.org, find out how to become a member. You can be a member for as little as $10 a month. And like I said, it really makes you feel good. You can also, if you are part of a company or a corporation that has an affinity to help women's groups, or they're looking for something to be involved with, maybe even our She Leads program, which is helping shape leaders for tomorrow of all ages. Okay, it's not just for kids or for 20-year-olds. It can be for anybody. go ahead and go to our website and get more information. And we also have our She Partners, which are those corporations that are interested in teaming up with us and helping. There's also information on our site about the different organizations that we have granted money to help everything from homeless to education to breast cancer to all health issues that affect women. So we need your help. We need you to get involved. And like I said, it's a wonderful feeling to become involved. I also want to thank the Humanities, right? They gave us the grant for this. It is Arizona Humanities. And this was our first in a series of She Talks that focuses on healing through humanities. So thank you, women. Thank you so much for helping us and giving us all this information. I know that we're very blessed and in a better place that we were able to spend this hour with you. So with that, I will go ahead and end the program. Please visit azfw.org. Please visit FromUsForYou.com. And this book is an easy read, meaning you don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand it, but it is so impactful and you'll take something good from it no matter what. So again, thank you so much and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.